Welcome to This Explainer. We are jumping right in today to unpack the fascinating blueprint of how a raw chemical actually scales up into a mass-produced, life-saving drug. And we're using the incredible career of API expert Dr. L. Mallikarjuna Reddy as our guide to see exactly how it's done. Now check out this number, 66. Back in 2010, securing the 66th All India CSIR rank for a junior research fellowship, that wasn't just a pat on the back. It was definitive proof of Dr. Reddy's elite foundation from day one. It signaled that he really possessed the rigorous, deep-level understanding of chemistry you absolutely need to shape the pharmaceutical landscape. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the foundation of an expert, move into scaling up from lab to plant, navigate the regulatory maze, look at where chemistry meets data, explore 10 years of industrial leadership, and finally look at his real-world impact through the 40 molecules he's developed.
All right, Section 1, the foundation of an expert, building the academic base.
You know, manufacturing APIs requires a totally grueling academic progression. It doesn't happen overnight. Starting from a basic science degree in maths, physics, and chemistry back in 2005, Dr. Reddy specialized tightly into an MSc in organic chemistry by 2007. Then came that super impressive CSIR fellowship in 2010, which naturally paved the way to his PhD in 2015, and finally his postdoc in industrial project work wrapping up in 2017. During this deeply intensive period, he wasn't just studying, he was actively contributing to the scientific community, publishing 6 distinct research papers in prestigious journals on incredibly complex organic chemistry topics, like synthesizing antimicrobial agents. Basically, he built his knowledge from the ground up, block by block.
Moving to Section 2, scaling up from lab to plant. This is the science of mass production. Transitioning from a university lab to an actual industrial pipeline requires a mind-boggling physical leap. Just think about it. Dr. Reddy has to perfectly optimize chemical reactions starting from a tiny 10 to 20 gram feasibility test. If that works, he scales it to 100 grams for lab validation. Then, boom, it jumps to the pilot plant level, which is anywhere from 10 to 100 kilograms. And finally comes the really monumental leap to commercialization, 100 to 1,000 kilograms. We're talking a full ton. When you scale up a chemical reaction like that, the heat transfers completely differently. Impurities form in totally unexpected ways, and the sheer volatility goes through the roof. Managing this scale up flawlessly, it is an absolute art form.
So, to achieve those massive leaps safely, Dr. Reddy utilizes some highly advanced wet lab skills. He's responsible for route scouting, which is basically finding the absolute best, most efficient chemical pathway to build a molecule. He develops technology for eco-friendly reactions, to reduce waste. Plus, he performs asymmetric synthesis and chiral molecule development. This is incredibly vital because, as it turns out, many drugs only work if the molecule is built facing a very specific mirrored direction. His mastery over these deeply complex techniques is literally what allows that transition from 10 grams to a full ton to actually happen in the real world.
That brings us to Section 3, navigating the regulatory maze to keep global drugs safe. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is a nitrosamine impurity? Well, it's a potentially harmful, mutagenic chemical byproduct. And in the pharmaceutical world, the sudden appearance of nitrosamines in a batch can force a massive global recall. It's serious stuff. So Dr. Reddy is tasked with these deeply complex ICH M7 mutagenic evaluations, tracking these elements down to the microscopic level. He designs the studies and prepares the exact reports proving that dangerous byproducts, like nitrosamines, are completely absent from the final product. It is a huge, huge responsibility for public safety.
In all of that rigorous safety testing, it culminates in a Drug Master File, or DMF. This highly detailed, totally confidential document is submitted to major regulatory agencies like the United States Pharmacopoeia and various European bodies. It essentially contains the complete blueprint of how an API is manufactured. Dr. Reddy personally prepares the exacting requirement documents for these files. He's effectively proving to strict global regulatory bodies that his processes are flawless, they're repeatable, and most importantly, they are completely safe.
All right, Section 4, where chemistry meets data. This is really about the evolution of the modern scientist.
So here's an unexpected twist in the evolution of modern science. Dr. Reddy doesn't just rely on traditional wet lab skills like route scouting and impurity preparation. Actually, he operates as a digital data engineer too. We're talking Python, SQL, Power BI, and advanced Excel. Now, why on earth does a chemist need SQL and Python? Well, because manufacturing a ton of pharmaceutical ingredients generates millions of data points on temperature, yield, and purity. By leveraging data engineering, he can analyze massive amounts of manufacturing data to optimize processes far, far beyond what human intuition alone could ever achieve. It's a brilliant synthesis of two entirely different disciplines.
On to Section 5, 10 years of industrial leadership going from scientist to manager.
Over the last decade, we see this steady, upward trajectory of trust and responsibility. Starting out as an associate scientist at GVK Life Sciences back in 2017, he was quickly promoted to team leader at Therapiva Limited just 2 years later. From there, he moved right up to a manager position at Leaf Pharmaceuticals and onto his current manager role at Everest Organics. Across all these roles, he has consistently stepped up to the plate, successfully managing cross-functional teams and actively leading groups of more than 10 chemists at a time. He is quite literally guiding the next generation of scientists.
Finally, Section 6, Impact. 40 molecules developed, marking a real-world medical footprint. So what is the ultimate real-world result of all this academic rigor and scale-up mastery? Well, the magic number is more than 40. Throughout his career, Dr. Reddy has successfully developed processes for over 40 distinct active pharmaceutical ingredients. That is an absolutely astounding level of productivity and impact for a single scientist to oversee in just 1 decade.
His footprint in the medical world is just massive in its variety. His work spans critical antivirals and targeted oncology treatments like piperacillin and gefitinib to neurological and metabolic drugs like donepezil and linagliptin, all the way to everyday gastrointestinal medications like omeprazole and pantoprazole. These are drugs that millions of people rely on every single day for ulcer relief. The sheer breadth of his expertise directly touches countless lives all across the globe.
I think Dr. Reddy's mindset is perfectly encapsulated in a single objective statement from his CV. He says, "I like to produce my knowledge in company growth." He isn't just researching for the sake of researching, He is obsessed with turning deep, theoretical, scientific knowledge into tangible, scalable results that drive an organization forward and ultimately bring life-saving drugs to the market efficiently.
So I'll leave you with this. As drug development scales from a tiny 10 grams to a massive 1,000 kilograms, how will the blend of traditional wet lab chemistry and advanced data engineering continue to shape the future of life-saving pharmaceuticals? Experts like Dr. Reddy aren't just adapting to the modern industry, they are writing the actual blueprint for the future of medicine. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how the incredible things around us actually get made.